Hello, everyone, and welcome to my class. This is Miss Danielle Rell, and I am the current teacher of Principles of Health Science, and I also teach a couple of sections of medical terminology. So, just to give you a little idea of about me, I graduated from St. Ed's in 2004. I was an adult student, so I went back a little bit later in life to get my biology degree. And at the completion of that, I applied and was accepted to medical school. And I attended 3 years before leaving at the beginning of fourth year due to a neurological condition that I developed during my first, second, and third years of med school. After leaving medical school, I returned to Austin, and after a few years, I decided to go into education using my background in medicine to work with students who have an interest in pursuing a career in the health field. So I've been teaching here at McNeil since 2016. So I've just recently, or will be recently, celebrating my 5-year anniversary. Over the years that I've been here, I've taught classes such as Principles of Health Science, Medical Terminology, Human Body Systems, On-Level Biology, and several years of Anatomy and Physiology. This year, my focus is Principles of Health Science and Medical Terminology. And I am truly feeling the students' pain when they are working on homework assignments, as I too am a student this year, as I have decided to return to school, and I am now in my first year of graduate school at UT Steve Hicks School of Social Work, and I am working on my master's in social work. So I too am a student and am struggling to complete all of my homework assignments, just as our students are here every day. So each day we kind of commiserate with one another. When I'm not teaching, you can find me spending time with my husband. We just got married this summer, and I spend a lot of time cleaning up fur from our 5 cats. We kind of have the Brady Bunch of the feline family, combining his cats and mine. Um, Before I started grad school, you would find me doing any of the following. I love to watch movies, listen to music. Making jewelry has been a passion of mine. At one point, I owned a bead store here in Austin and taught people how to make jewelry, so that was really fun. Um, I used to sew, read, paint, and I love to create in the kitchen. However, now that I am in grad school, pretty much all of my extra time is spent reading and writing research papers and working on group projects. Here is some contact information. So if you would like to reach out to me for any reason, I encourage you to do so, be it general, that you have a general question, you have a concern about your students, something isn't clear in regards to policies, whatever it is, if there's anything I can do or any question I can answer, please, please, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. The fastest way to receive a response would probably be to text me using Remind. So I would just advise you, though, to make sure that you sign up for the correct Remind section that is the one that your student is enrolled in. Because when I send out updates, reminders, things of that nature, those messages will be tailored to each specific class, and due dates may be different from section to section. So just make sure that you sign up for the right one. Um, and I will answer texts as soon as I possibly can. The second best way to communicate to me would be, and obviously if the message is longer than what could be relayed in a text message, would be to email. The third way would be to contact me using the classroom phone. But honestly, if I am in the middle of teaching, or if I'm not on campus, I'm not going to get that message right away. So texting or email are the two best, most reliable ways to reach out to me. And I will return your message. I will do my best to do so within 24 hours. I will let you know that on A days, I don't have a planning period. And so I'm teaching from the moment we start to the moment we finish that day. Most evenings I leave immediately after school to go to my class at UT. So I'm taking classes most evenings. So if I do have a class that evening, I won't be able to respond to emails until the next morning at the earliest. When they give us a break during our class that evening, I can usually check text messages and respond with a quick message just to confirm, let you know that I received your message and I'll get back to you. But I won't have time to check emails on the evenings that I have class. And for some general information, I have included a link to my website that is published on McNeil's page. However, the most accurate, up to date information is on your student's Schoology page for my class. So, tutorial information. Um, I encourage a student to utilize Flex as much as possible if they need to make up an exam, retest if they didn't pass an exam on the first attempt, or if they need to get extra help on a particular unit. For our CTE classes, meaning those classes where your student has health science, business, the audiovisual classes, any agriculture classes, computer science, any class that falls under the department of CTE, the flex time that your student is scheduled to attend their flex is mandatory, meaning that they're not allowed to flex out of our classes to attend a tutorial with another teacher. I'm more than happy to explain why that is. So if you are curious, send me an email and I will put together the explanation and give to you. It goes a little beyond the scope of just the general info here. But like I said, if you are curious to that, I'm more than happy to explain it to you. Just shoot me a message and let me know. Point of the story is that your student must attend flex times that they are scheduled to attend our class. So anytime they're supposed to be in flex for either their Principles of Health Science or Medical Terminology class, they're going to be in that tutorial time with me. So I encourage students to use those mandatory flex times to knock out that missing work or those retests or to get extra help. Now, there will be times where I have extra tutorial seats available during Flex, but that is not very often because my classes are usually pretty full. So I don't have room to allow additional students to come in. So they need to keep an eye on the tutorial schedule in Flex. If there's a spot available, grab it. However, if flex time doesn't work for them, I do have some general standing tutorial times. However, those times are limited because of the reason stated earlier that I am in grad school, so most of my evenings are spent at UT. So my current standing tutorials are Tuesdays and Thursday mornings at 8:30. I bump that to 8 o'clock if a student needs to come in early to take an exam, so I don't want them rushing. So if they are retaking or taking a makeup, then I would prefer that they start at 8 a.m. and not have to rush to be finished for the start of either first or fifth periods. And then Wednesday afternoons, I'm trying to keep a tutorial spot open for 4:30. There will be times, however, that I will have to cancel the morning or evening tutorials because of either a duty assignment that I have, meetings that I have on campus that are mandatory, or perhaps I'm off campus that day for personal reasons. But if there is a cancellation of tutorials, I will communicate that as soon as possible. So, and all of this information has been communicated to students. So in regards to classroom expectations, it looks like a lengthy list, but it really isn't that many topics. Just kind of quickly reviewing them. Basically, students are required or expected to participate and attend class every day. They are expected to be on time every day because late arrivals, number one, tardies do accrue and they add up. And if a student has numerous tardies, it can affect their attendance status. And if they accumulate 3 tardies or more, that will then translate to be equal to 1 absence for the class. And then if they have over a certain number of absences per semester, then they will be required to make up time outside of class time, meaning that they would have to attend mandatory tutorials to earn back attendance time to receive credit for that class. So the best way to avoid that is to be in class and to be on time, as we do have to record tardies. So for all of my classes, since my portable is located so far away from the main building, I have added an extra 3 minutes to the travel time in between classes to allow students extra time to get here. This should eliminate most tardies. I feel like 3 minutes is a reasonable addition. So when you see a tardy marked for a student in home access, that means that they were late beyond the extra 3 minutes that I granted them to get to class. So please encourage your student to pay attention to tardies and to get to class as fast as possible. And I also release them a couple of minutes early to allow them to return to the main building to get to their next class on time. Students are also expected to show up with necessary supplies. The supply list in my class is very short this year. Basically, they need to show up with their Chromebook. They need to show up with their Chromebook charger because I do not have extra chargers to lend out. And the school does not have extra chargers to lend to us to make available to students. So if they show up and their Chromebook dies, I have no way of helping them out with that. I do have multiple extension cords plugged in around the room, so they will always be able to plug in and charge their Chromebook, but they must bring their charger every day. And they also need to bring a set of headphones that are compatible for use with the Chromebooks. There will be times when videos are assigned as part of an in-class assignment, mandatory assignment, and they need to be able to view that video using headphones on their Chromebook. Students are expected to check their email student account regularly. I send a fair number of communications through email to students, and on the really important ones, I will copy the parents. But all communication that I send out via email is to the student's email account. So if they are not in the habit of checking their student email, they really need to get in the habit of checking student email. That is how we teachers are able to communicate with them. There is the expectation that students are respectful to their peers, to their teachers, to their any classroom guests, to the school property, and be respectful to one another during class time. This year we are all in person, but should we ever do anything in a virtual capacity, respect is expected at that time as well. Again, if flex is scheduled for their section, they are expected to attend. And if they need additional assistance, they are expected to attend tutorials as needed by appointment. They are expected to complete assignments and submit them through Schoology by the posted deadline. I am very clear in the time that an assignment is due and the day that the assignment is due. And if they've not submitted it by that due date and time, and just as a note, the time is always the beginning of class, the day that it is due. So if their class starts at 9:05 and they go to submit their assignment at 9:05, Schoology is going to mark it as late, which means when I run my report for assignments to be graded, it won't show up because I only pull up those assignments that have been submitted on time. So students have been instructed as to the procedure. So I will still accept a late assignment, but they must also submit a late work Google form. So I've gone over this process with them. They know where to find the Google form. Everything is posted in Schoology. But just to let you know that if Schoology posts or tags an assignment as being late, then there is one additional step that the student needs to do for that assignment to be graded. The best way that they can avoid that extra step is to turn in assignments before the due date. And I have encouraged them to not wait till the last minute, because if internet is slow, if Schoology lags, a lot of time, and they are trying to submit it at 9:03, 9:04, and the due date is 9:05, then quite often that lag is going to make their assignment be late, and they're going to have to do that extra step. So the best way to avoid that is not to wait till last minute. Students are expected to monitor their grades in home access. So if they do not have access to home access, they need to stop by one of their suites and talk to an admin assistant there, and get help in getting access to home access, because I update grades regularly. It is their responsibility to view. I try to keep the grades as updated as possible. So if there's a missing assignment, they are well aware of it, with plenty of time to remedy that issue and get their late work in before any late work deadlines that are posted for that marking period. And if there's any issue that is preventing them from being successful or being able to perform their best and to comply with any of these expectations, please encourage them to reach out to me and to communicate with me anything that they are comfortable with. I am more than willing to work with them and help them with anything that's going on. I just need to know if there is an issue. They don't necessarily have to disclose personal information, especially if they aren't comfortable. That is not what I'm saying, but they do need to communicate that there is something going on and that they may need an extension on a particular assignment. And I can't recall a situation where a student has reached out to me and I have denied them an extension if they have communicated a need. But if I don't know that there's an issue going on, then I won't know to grant that extension. So please encourage your student to talk to me if there's anything that I can do to help them out in any capacity. All right, so important class documents. So the syllabus is posted in Schoology. Every day I post a daily agenda so that if a student is absent or if a student just doesn't have any recollection of what we did in class on a particular day, they can go to the daily agenda and see what the daily objectives were, any important announcements, what the class activities were, any new assignments that were given, and the due dates, what was due for that day. Everything is listed in the agenda, and then every assignment is listed in Schoology so that it shows up in the calendar in Schoology that's associated with my class. I'll pull up a Schoology page in just a moment and show you what that looks like so that you can see what your student sees and how I communicate this information to them. And again, just reiterating, supplies needed each day are Chromebook, the charger, and headphones that are compatible with the Chromebook. So, what do I do if I miss a class? The fastest way to figure out what the makeup assignments are and what they need to turn in that was due that day is to log into Schoology, click on the calendar icon next to the word upcoming that's on the right-hand side of the screen, and then select the agenda for the day in question that the student was absent. And again, there will be an agenda posted for every day. The agenda, like I said, will go through all the important information that was covered that day. And then they will be able to access the assignment by clicking on the assignment post on the due date in the calendar, and it will take them to that assignment right away, and then they can work on it and submit it through Schoology. If a student has to retake an exam or schedule a makeup, there's a folder in Schoology called Google Forms, and when they open that, they will find their daily stat starter form that they complete at the beginning of every class with questions that I have posted for them. They have the late work Google form where they would submit that anytime they turn in an assignment late. And then the third link is the retest makeup exam form request, where basically they go through telling me what exam they're making up or retesting, and they're either selecting a tutorial date from the options that are available or indicating which flex they have signed up for. And then once that's submitted, I get confirmation and I can schedule those exams. What I'm not able to do is accommodate students who show up to a tutorial that they've not filled out this form and say, I'm ready to take my test now. Can you open it for me? The way I do my tests in Schoology, it is not merely just doing one or two clicks and it opens an exam. There's a process that I have to go through that helps me track who is retested, track that I have entered and updated those grades in the grade book, um, and kind of monitor the status of things. So the forms have to be filled out in advance. A student can't just show up and expect a retest or a makeup exam to be available to them right then. So I have communicated with the students that if they are coming in the next day to do an exam, they need to have submitted the form by 8 p.m. the night before. That will give me the time needed to create the exam specifically for them in their class. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me. And I'm more than happy to explain it again. In Schoology or home access. So if your student is having any trouble accessing home access, please have them swing by an admin suite. If they're having trouble accessing Schoology, they can click on the link to fill out a tech support ticket, and that link can also be found on McNeil's homepage. If your student is interested in joining an extracurricular activity or club, we have one known as HOSA, and it is for students, basically anyone who is interested in pursuing a career in healthcare. So there are lots of volunteer opportunities, lots of community service opportunities, and if your student likes to compete academically, there are competition opportunities as well. And depending upon how far they go, they would start off competing at the area level, then proceed to state, and then proceed to internationals. But the link to the McNeil HOSA website is here. I encourage all students to go check out that website. If they have any questions about how to join, to contact one of the officers. And then on the website, they can click on the meetings tab at the top and navigate to any of the PowerPoints that were covered during the meetings to find out what opportunities, upcoming opportunities are available for them to sign up for and volunteer and participate in. And then also how to join is covered in the PowerPoints as well. They'll go over what dates we are collecting dues, how much the dues are, etc. So again, if there are any questions in regards to joining HOSA, have your student contact the officers, and all of that contact info is on the McNeil HOSA webpage. So again, thank you for spending these last few minutes with me. Just a review of my contact information. Once I leave this slide, I will go to a Schoology page and just kind of show you how that is set up and how your student navigates it. But I just wanted to give you one last quick view. My email address is danielle_rail@roundrockisd.org. The remind codes, just text the code. If your student is in first period, you would just text the message @rail first, and the number you would text to is 81010. So the sign-up codes are specific per section, so make sure that you sign up for the correct section so that the updates you get are correct to your student's section. And if you have any trouble with that, please let me know. So let me go to show you what the Schoology page looks like for my classes. So I'm currently in a student view. So when they log in, MedTerm is set up the same way. So regardless of whether or not your student has me for principals or has me for MedTerm, their Schoology page is set up in the same exact format. So when they log in, they're going to see several folders. The top folder will always be Google Forms. So when they come to class and they do their SAT starter, they'll log into their attendance form. If they need to submit a late homework assignment, they'll fill out the late work Google form here. And if they need to request a retest or a makeup, then they will fill out this form here. So that will always live in the top folder. Then class resources will always be the second folder. So I've included links to things that are helpful to them in regards to the campus as a whole. So things like the AB calendar. Um, if they don't remember which day is an A day, which day is a B day, they can click on this calendar. It's there for them. I've included an English and a Spanish version of the academic calendar. I've included a copy of the Bell schedule as well as the Flex calendar. So the Flex rotating schedule can be confusing. So here they are able to click on it and it will open up and they can navigate and see exactly which Flex is their assigned home base for that day. Also in this the folder, I've included the syllabus for that class. So MedTerm would have the MedTerm syllabus. Principals has the principals. And then I've also included the academic honor code. So this is a new adoption this year, a committee in order to address the campus-wide issue of academic dishonesty, the issue of cheating that was prevalent during our virtual year. They have come up with the honor code, and all teachers are enforcing this. So please read through this. This is what I have covered with all students, so that if ever an issue arises, this outlines the steps that I am expected to follow in regards to addressing the issue. And then there are other school-related resources such that may be helpful to your students, such as the bus route locator, the flex time presentation that they viewed at the beginning of the year, the welcome video, the safe, respectful, responsible presentation that we showed students at the beginning, student resource sheets. We are actually built above and around a series of caves. So if you did not know that, there's a very interesting story put together by Miss Vick, our environmental science teacher here. So I encourage you to check that out. And then the welcome presentation that the students viewed during their first day back. So after you get past those top two folders, then you get into the content. The current unit that we are working in at that time will always be the green folder at the top. As we conclude our units, I will bump it down and change that folder to yellow. And the oldest units will always be at the bottom. So most current is here at the top in green. The previous units will be changed to yellow. And so that if they are missing an assignment, they can go to that unit, click open the folder, and then they can navigate to the assignments. So you see that for principals, we are currently working on the history of healthcare. So they've had two assignments. The first was the note sheet, and then the current project is the famous person in medicine. Now, in reference to the agenda that I mentioned, you'll see over here on the right-hand side, you'll see some agendas posted. So sometimes I will have them posted for the entire week if I've had a productive weekend. Others, the agenda may not go up until that day. So if you don't see an agenda for that specific day, please know that it is coming. So if your student has missed a day or they don't remember what was done in a particular class, this is that icon I was referencing. So go next to the word upcoming, click on that calendar icon, and it will show you all of the assignment due dates that have taken place for this class, and all of the agendas that have been posted for this class. So if they missed yesterday, they could click on yesterday's agenda and see, all right, so we continued with the history of healthcare. They began their research project. Class activities, they did their stat starter. They began their project. That there was a set of notes that were due that day. So if they missed that deadline, they need to submit them along with the late work Google form. A new assignment was given, which is the research project. And then the announcements. I went over if somebody needed to retest, what they needed to do. And I gave them a link to the form. So the agendas contain all of that summary info that they would need if they need a refresher of what we did that day or they missed that day. So that's going to be the fastest way to find out what assignments they need to do if they missed a day. If your student emails me and says, I was absent, what do I need to do? I'm going to refer them to the agenda, and it's a good chance that that email may not get answered for 24 hours. So this is the fastest way to get that information. Um, I don't know how many teachers are utilizing the calendars in Schoology, but if your student does have multiple teachers that are utilizing those calendars, you can get a summary view of everything that has been entered by clicking this calendar icon at the very top. So if they click that icon, is it going to work? I'm in student view, so I'm not sure if it's going to pop up here. Okay, so this is my view of all my calendars that I have in Schoology, managing all of my classes. Your students is not going to look nearly this congested with things, but everything that their teachers have entered with due dates in Schoology will show up on this master calendar. But if they are just wanting to see what those postings are for my class only, clicking on this calendar here next to the word upcoming will give you an overview of this class only. And then they can also navigate to previous months as well. So, and they can go to as far out as I've built it. So I've actually been able to build out a couple of days ahead so that they can see what we're working on. But sometimes I don't get that entry made until that morning. I will do my best to keep it out as far as possible, but life is busy right now. And we're just kind of all doing the best we can to stay caught up on that. So I hope this information has been helpful. I apologize for the length of the video. I recognize probably most videos will be a little shorter, but I just wanted to go over all of that information with you. If you have any questions about any of this information or anything in general, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I look forward to conversing with you. I hope you have a wonderful day and take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.